Hello there, and thank you all so much for taking the time to meet with us this afternoon. I'm Sharon Rettinger with Babylon Micro Farms, and I am delighted to be joined by Mitchell Cox, who is the lead unit coordinator at Community Brain Injury Services. So, Mitchell, I'll turn it over to you to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate it. Hi, everybody. My name is Mitchell Cox. Like Sharon introduced, I am a 5-year employee of Community Brain Injury Services. I recently got promoted to lead unit coordinator at the program, and I've been running the STEM garden for our programming here. I've been helping Denby out as well with their programming as well. I'm super excited to be here.
Wonderful. Thanks, Mitchell. All right. Well, everyone, thank you again for taking the time to join us this afternoon. I'm going to fire away some questions for Mitchell to kind of share about his personal experiences with their membership and how they're working with Babylon with their STEM garden. So, Mitchell, I'm going to dive on in and get started. So, I know when we first connected, there was a lot of interest in our STEM garden, but what really inspired you and, for your team there and your members to partner with Babylon?
Yeah, absolutely. So when Jason kind of came to us with the idea, I was like, how is that going to work out? Like, we don't got, like, we barely have a hose in here. And I was thinking about it. And as we toured the facility, the members just became so enthralled with like the concept of how easy it was to just be able to grow produce year round and like high quality, good stuff. And basically, the way we thought about it as an agency really was based around the fact that we could essentially kind of break up not only the monotony of like kind of doing this our task over and over again, but also being able to perform a lot of inter-unit activities. The one thing we really want to encourage as a clubhouse program is socialization and kind of that interconnectivity. And this allowed us to kind of do that, especially between my unit and the kitchen unit, which is what we're going to be talking about probably a little later. So yeah, that's kind of what I would say was our biggest selling points on it, and it's been awesome so far. So
Love that. Well, so I know I've gotten to know a lot of your members really well there, and they've shared some feedback with me, but I'd love to hear it from you. What had excited them so far in regards to getting their hands into the farm, especially with your unit? Love to hear some feedback on that side.
yeah, absolutely. So within the maintenance unit, we do a lot of kind of janitorial, building, upkeep, and maintenance, and then we do some gardening before all of this. We did an outdoor garden, and that is one of our members' favorite projects that we're able to do. But unfortunately, we were so limited because one, we're working with like 3 raised beds out there that we're using raised bed soil. We are limited on what produce options we can pick, and we're not really able to. Do that year round. And this, like I said earlier, was something that we really wanted. And the feedback they've been giving me in terms of performing on it and working on it, it's just, like I said, it's something different. It's something cool that they get to work on. We've worked on, fine tuning it over our, last 6 months or so that we've had it. And like I said, I think the biggest feedback I've gotten on it as a positive is just that it's a cool piece of technology that does something productive for us. And that's awesome. And that's really what it comes down to.
Well, thank you. I think it was so much fun. I know the day that your STEM garden was delivered, I got to be there along with Chris Holloman, our marketing manager. And it was just so exciting because I know the members, especially with your unit, they got really excited and kind of, what is this? And,
Yeah, exactly.
how is it going to be implemented? So how, I know when I was working with them, we were seeding the pods,
Mhm.
the time investment. So, how has it really contributed to the daily life of the
Yeah,
members there on site?
yeah, absolutely. So in terms of within my unit, and then I guess as it going as a whole, basically we've been able to integrate it really into our programming with the kitchen unit in order we literally plan meals around the STEM gardens growth cycle now. So I'm able to meet with my unit coordinator for the kitchen, and then her members, and then my members can meet and basically just says, hey, what do we want to do this month with our basil, with our cabbage, with our bok choy? What are we going to do with the micro red radishes that are about to come up next week? It's something that we really get to introduce more collaborative processes for. And basically, with that, we're not only able to, like I said, break up the monotony, we're also able to kind of introduce a lot of socialization that we normally wouldn't be otherwise able to do. And that's really important for us, obviously. So.
Yeah, I know that you and Jason had shared that some of your members don't necessarily have access to the most
Yes.
healthy
Yeah.
nutritious. Has this kind of helped kind of elevate that food as medicine,
Yeah.
nutrition?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, we always try and strive when we're cooking our own meals here to be able to provide healthy, nutritious things. But it's really difficult for us to always, all the time, get like every single thing on the menu that's perfectly nutritious and healthy. And this has not only allowed us to integrate it more into our meals, where we're having, fresh produce, more salads with our sides instead of, our traditional potatoes or something along those lines. Um, We've also been able to, with our excess, when we've had excess, been able to send it home with members. So I've, been able to send people who they didn't even know what bok choy is. They tried it at our program and they loved it so much. I'm able to send it home with them because we're able to grow enough. Same thing with herbs. I've had multiple members start their own basil just from grabbing ours and moving it over to their own potting, which is really cool. So yeah, it's especially with the microgreens, we've been able to really, with the growth cycle of them, been able to consistently provide that to membership as well. So that's been really, in particular, awesome. Just the speed at which we can grow things.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. Well, so I know for the folks out there who don't know as much about community brain injury as you and I do, so just kind of sharing a little bit about your different departments. So obviously,
Mhm.
you oversee the unit for maintenance, and then there's another team on the culinary side. Can you speak to, I know you spoke a little bit about this, but can you speak to how your team kind of manages and then the culinary team also helps out with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say we're kind of the maintenance is kind of the muscle of the operation. We're getting the plants going, but we don't know how we're going to integrate that into their monthly calendar for the meals that we send out. And that's really where the kitchen comes into play. They also love breaking down like the nutritional value of certain crops that we're growing, as well as being able to share that with the communications unit as well, who's, kind of, they take the pictures, they do the social media. So we're able to integrate, honestly, all three units into the process. But with the kitchen unit in particular, obviously, it's the cooking, the preparing, the meal planning, and then with my unit, it's kind of like the meat and potatoes of the operation, managing the garden, as well as being able to kind of plan out the harvest and growth cycles.
Thank you. That's really helpful. Well, I know horticulture therapy has been a predominant, investment that you guys had dabbled in with your outdoor raised beds.
Mhm.
So do you feel like this integrates well into that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it builds, not only is it building life skills and introducing a new skill to our membership that we didn't previously have, it allows me to, like I mentioned earlier, continuously do it throughout the year. It's something that people all like. I have so many people who are green thumbs who, um, for whatever reason it may be, whether they're limited at their facility or not, aren't able to work on like their own personal garden. They aren't able to do these things that they may have done previously because of lack of access. And providing access year round, as well as a different type of experience that they know the traditional gardening. They know, they can get their hands dirty, they can dig out beds, they can, report mulch. But, this really gives a interesting new skill base that I can integrate into it, as well as teach them within the unit. So it's awesome for that.
So how do you feel, this really kind of aligns with your mission and values at
Mhm.
Community Brain Injury?
Yeah. So I think with Babylon specifically, like with you guys' values, I think accessibility is the biggest thing that and education are the two biggest kind of pillars that we would share together with this, because it really is something where I'm giving access to a product that I otherwise would not be able to provide. And then I'm also able to educate continuously around it and, really give out, like I said, I keep bringing it up, but giving access to people who otherwise wouldn't have access to these things, which is awesome for us to be able to provide, because I wasn't able to do that before continuously. So,
Love it. Well, thank you. Well, I know I personally have had some fun memories with some of your members there. I think some of my favorite ones when people were selecting like what they wanted to put in the
yeah.
farm, and we were putting the seeds directly in the pods, and it to me it was wonderful, and I felt like they got quite excited and having that sense of purpose, which we all want. And I
Mhm.
think you've spoken a lot to the life skill development, but have your members shared any personal memories or favorite experiences so far?
Yeah, yeah. So, pictured in on the screen below, and the right beside me on the left is a gentleman named by the name of Richard. He loves growing plants, loves them, loves them, loves them. isn't always the most successful at them, but he really has a passion for it. And he's not even in my unit; he's in the kitchen unit. And he was the gentleman I mentioned earlier who I was able to provide like a basil plant for, and he's grown it and grown it and grown it. And it's gone awesome for him. Also pictured to the right of the garden in the hat is Wesley. Wesley is like my man on the garden, and he isn't able to have one at his facility, his brain injury housing, but he is every single day he comes to my unit. He's the one jumping, like as soon as I write on the board, he's like, I want to do that. I want to fix the pH. I want to add the nutrients. I want to transplant the seedlings. I want to be, involved in this. And just seeing, especially with Richard, with his success for growing, and then also Wesley, his ability to come in and just be super excited because, most of my tasks are like taking out the trash, helping clean a restroom, doing some mopping, fixing this around the building. But this is something where members can really like jump to and be like excited. And I really like it, really helps out me. And obviously, it provides a cool experience for them. So.
Well, I love that. And I've truly enjoyed getting to know your members, your community. I think it's an amazing organization that definitely is making an incredible impact. And we're glad to be a part of such an incredible journey for your members.
Mhm.
But especially with other organizations, whether it be senior living, healthcare, other similar organizations to yourself, what would you tell them if they're considering exploring a partnership with us?
If I also tell them one thing is that um, you're not alone. It seems like such a daunting like law. You get this 100-page manual, but you guys have been so supportive with that and helping us through, get started. And then once you really get it, it's not hard. Like I said, it really does to a degree run itself. And with some small adjustments, and obviously we have to do our planning around it. But it really is something where once you get your, feet wet proverbially, you're able to get going. And it's really something where you're able, the volume you're able to produce for even our unit, the STEM garden is surprising. I thought, ain't no way we're getting that much out of this thing, but it really does. It is really able to have a quick turnaround time. So you can really get a lot of value out of it as well in terms of, not having to go to the store and get all this produce all the time and all that. And then obviously the quality is high. So yeah.
Well, thank you. I know we've had a couple questions pop in.
Hmm.
So, Chris, I don't know if you want to dive into some of those questions.
Absolutely. Someone asked, how long does it take to get started once you get a SIM card?
Do you want me to answer that?
Sure, we can. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say realistically, I mean, once the unit is delivered, you're really starting almost immediately. It probably took me around 2 weeks to get kind of like all my ducks in a row with it. And then but within a month we had produce. So it really does ramp up fast. And especially if you're doing the microgreens, you're able to set that up immediately and have microgreens within 2 weeks essentially. In most cases, depends on the plant, obviously. But yeah, so I would say, I mean, you're able to start really fast once you have the unit. In terms of getting invoicing for it and getting it and then getting it delivered, I can't answer that, but in terms of my end, it's very fast.
Yeah, our lead time right now is typically about 8 weeks. I mean, we can expedite that if need be, because we have certain clients who are doing renovations. We work with a lot of schools too, and so sometimes they're like, "Hey, we want it over the holiday break." So we work as fast as our clients want to in regards to kind of launching the partnership. So hopefully that answered that question.
What is your favorite produce?
If I'm being honest, bok choy. As someone who's been a traditionally picky eater throughout my childhood, I had a lot of allergies growing up. I was not a big trier. I've never had bok choy before, but in the garden, it ain't small. It grows so large and it's so beautiful, honestly. And I was able to try it for the first time and it was delicious. So I'd say bok choy is my favorite normal plant that we grow, and then my favorite microgreen that we've been able to consistently grow has been the micro red radishes, just because they're quick, they're easy, they're perfect for garnish, and that they're really tasty. So those are my favorite too, just because bok choy I had literally no experience with. I knew it was used in a lot of Korean dishes, but never in my life. And then with the micro red radishes for microgreens.
I have to say, I love our basil. So we have a bunch of different
Yes,
basil
it's really
varieties. We have
good.
an opal, we have some blends. Basil is my favorite. I'm a huge pizza fan. And even if I get like takeout pizza, I throw some basil on there. Any Italian dish, throwing that in there too.
Yes.
We're adding, and Mitchell, I don't think I've told you this, we're adding some new varieties. We actually have launched some tomatoes, some
Oh,
peppers.
awesome.
But we've tried about 300 different varieties. So we always want to focus on, what our clients like and value the most.
Yeah, absolutely. Ditto on the basil. It is so powerful and strong.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Chris, I know we had another question pop in there. And there's Joe, who
Oh,
also oversees. Hi there.
hey, how's it going? Sorry to interrupt. Jason is asking for the Zoom link.
Oh, well, we will send him the recording and we'll fire over the link so he can pop in right now too.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
good. Thank you. Sorry to
Perfect.
interrupt.
Oh, no worries. Um, yeah, but those are some favorites. So I definitely will keep you posted. And actually, one quick question for you, Mitchell. With the members there, what are some of their faves?
Yeah, absolutely. I think basil's definitely. Joe makes some gentleman who just walked in makes a mean pizza. So the basil is like over like the smell when you get hit with it is really powerful. And they really like it when Joe makes pizza, and the basil's a great accent. We also do a mean kind of chicken pesto pasta, and that's been really good. So I'd say those two are their favorites. And then we also made sauerkraut out of the cabbage, and just put them on dogs, Frank's, and that was a really fun time as well. So I'd say those two, just because we've been able to do different things with them, and rather than them just being integrated into a salad, they've been able to make something that's like part of some of our faves here at the Mill House. So yeah, absolutely those.
I love that.
Would this be a good program for recreational therapy? And they're asking, at maybe a youth correction center or youth center.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in my opinion, obviously we're part recreation, part vocational. And I would say that just because of the ease of access and use, I think even for, pediatric clients, youth, it'd be fantastic. And it really does allow you to, it's kind of like giving someone something to take care of, right? And it also allows you to not only integrate it into programming, it also allows you to kind of give that sense of fulfillment with the process of it all, and the kind of seeing it end to end. And so, yeah, I think it absolutely would be great if integrated in properly, obviously, and as a partial recreational, partial vocational, from my perspective.
Yeah, and we've actually seen, so one of our big segments is education. So we partnered with K-12 all the way up through collegiate, higher education, private schools, charter schools. So I think for kids, I mean, they get so excited about, how things grow, where things come from. I mean, we've had students who have participated. We have student internship programs for our other model, which is called our gallery. So it's a little bit
Mhm.
larger, more automation, a few more bells and whistles. But we have a student internship program that kind of aligns with that one in particular. But it's been extremely, really exciting. Churchill Tutoring is another venue that we've partnered with too. But we've partnered with some amazing organizations. One that tugs at my heartstrings is a high school out in Bentonville, Arkansas. So they purchased two of our units. One is for culinary in the cafeteria. The second is actually the amazing special needs students there are managing the farm. I mean, there's so much opportunity. As Mitchell said before, it gives people a sense of purpose. It gives direction. I mean, this industry is actually becoming more and more prevalent. We've partnered with the Mayo Clinic, Neiman Marcus, LinkedIn's corporate office, cruise lines, JW Marriott, and especially in the hospitality side, people in the culinary world having certifications and know how to have experience using hydroponics in restaurants, things like that. It's very prevalent these days and it's becoming more and more prevalent. So I think that opportunity, just to go back to your question, absolutely. I think there's a lot of opportunity for that sense of purpose, engagement, and also food as medicine, really providing them more healthy options. And for those younger generations, sometimes it is hard to get healthy food. We partner with some schools in low income areas, and this may be the healthiest meal that they're getting all week. So,
Sharon, one more question for you all. I think the other questions you'll answer in the slides you're going to have coming up. But did you have any hurdles with state regulations around using your own greens?
No, not that I can possibly think of. Yeah.
And I can kind of speak to that too. So a couple things, we partnered with some amazing healthcare systems like the Mayo Clinic, New Valley Health, Sheltering Arms here in Richmond, Virginia. And as you can imagine, healthcare systems have some of the most stringent food safety protocols. So a lot of things that, the health departments like about Babylon, the units do have turnkey style locks. So it does limit, who's getting their hands into the farm. But also we have visibility from the batch of seeds that we're sending to Mitchell and his members, and knowing when they're harvesting. So having that visibility is really important. But keep in mind, for our 300 clients that we partner with across the globe, every single one of them are using these for culinary.
Mhm.
Yeah. But Mitchell, thank you again so much for taking the
Oh, yeah.
time today.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I'm happy to share about it. It's been awesome for us. And 15 minutes, 20 minutes of my time, happy to talk about it. So thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Well, now I'm going to kind of dive in and share a little bit more about Babylon because we do have a couple different product offerings. So we've deployed probably 50 stem gardens are in production and getting ready to be deployed across the United States. We've deployed about 300 gallery farms across the world. And so our goal for our clients like Mitchell and his team is how do we really, provide the most unparalleled dining experience where you can grow your own fresh, sustainable produce on site as easily as possible. So just kind of diving in further, so as you can see right here, we have two different models. The solution that Mitchell and Jason and Joe and their team at Community Brain Injury selected for their program was our STEM garden. So this unit, it's designed for that hands-on application. It's on wheels, so it's designed to be moved around just a little bit. Now, the product that you see to the left is what's called our gallery model. And so we have a lot of these in healthcare facilities like Sheltering Arms, the Mayo Clinic, the US Olympic team. With this model in particular, basically we control the environment, just like the STEM garden. So we're dosing the water, the nutrients, the pH. With this model and program, it is a little bit different. So basically there's an app, which is what takes the guesswork out of growing for the teams. So for Mitchell and his team, they wanted something that was a little bit more hands-on where their members could really get involved with the farm. Now we have other clients who aren't quite as savvy as Mitchell and his team there. So some of our clients, they want to completely take the guesswork out of it. And that's where our app really comes into play. And it tells the team when to transplant, when to harvest. There's even downward facing cameras in the farms. And no, we're not spying on anybody. Two reasons for those is one, it's a great tool for engagement. So you have access to that in the app. But you can also showcase what's being grown in your farm. So for a lot of my clients who want something that's really easy to manage, minimal time, the gallery can be a good solution. We also have a lot of clients who have goals around self-sufficiency. And so depending on the senior living community, for example, Commonwealth Senior Living, we partnered with them at roughly 25 of their communities. They had goals around locally sourced, and they have anywhere between 60 to 150 residents. So we were able to kind of accomplish some of their goals with a larger of the two units. Now, one thing that is brand new, and Mitchell, I know when you came to tour the facility, you got to see our grow space. So this is kind of what I call our secret garden. So we have a lot of clients who have empty warehouses, spaces. Maybe they've explored shipping containers, but the kicker is the permitting is a little bit challenging, and they want something that they can bring, let's say a school in particular, bring 30 kids into, and they get their hands into the farm. The beauty of the grow space is it's fully customizable. So we have clients where they want a combination of our gallery models. They want the STEM garden units where they're a little bit more hands-on, but this is fully customizable for every single one of our clients. So if you do have goals around, self-sufficiency, a large space that you're trying to make green, beautiful, this can really kind of help accomplish that goal. So keep in mind, as Mitchell shared before, we truly care about our clients. We want to get to grow together. We've gotten to partner with Mitchell and his team and also community over at Denby House, and we truly care. And that's where you have a team in place to ensure that you're set up for success. Having that dedicated account manager, tools and resources in regards to training, things like that, especially with a gallery model in the grow space. Many of our clients, they want to have, more automation. And so we even provide environmental report cards, an app, kind of taking away those challenges. But on the STEM garden side, obviously Mitchell and his team has shared, we have some great clients in the education space. So for those folks who really want to kind of get the students involved and educate them on, future generations. Where does your food come from? Now, when I came on board about 4 years ago, our largest segment was senior living, and this was in the midst of COVID. And obviously, food as medicine is a hot button for senior living communities, healthcare as well. These literally truly live at the intersection of resident engagement, culinary, sustainability, and innovation. We have clients who literally, similar to Mitchell and his team there, they build this into their programming. So as you can see in the left picture, literally they'll do a harvest celebration. So getting a group of 6 to 10 residents together, they get their hands dirty without actually getting their hands dirty. We have a lot of clients, like the top right picture, that's one of our Commonwealth senior living communities where literally they serve their Commonwealth salad blend that comes from their Babylon microfarm at lunch and dinner every single day. So it's amazing in regards to what you can provide and offer. Shifting gears just a little bit, one of my favorite case uses, besides my Mitchell, of course, and community brain injury, is MSC Cruise Lines. So we partnered with them on 2 different vessels, and they had a lot of goals because in the cruise line industry, they're not seen as the most sustainable, I guess, opportunity out there. And so they wanted to be seen as a thought leader when it came to innovation, farm to table, and sustainability. And so we were able to check off all of those boxes for them. For their first ship that you see right here, they're literally fully self-sufficient with all of the microgreens that they're serving at their garden kitchen concept. We have other premier hospitality teams like JW Marriott, where every single cocktail at the Mall of Minneapolis is being garnished from their Babylon microfarms. Same with every single pizza that comes out of their brick oven. So keep in mind, there's literally no seasonality, whether it be with our STEM garden or gallery. You have expansive menu offerings to select from herbs, edible flowers, micros. You heard from Mitchell some of his favorite varieties, some of mine as well. But we're always testing new things. And so we want to make sure our clients are extremely happy and provide, unparalleled, culinary experiences, whether it be for your residents, your students, or your faculty. Now, kind of diving in to the farms itself, I know one thing that is very popular with a lot of my clients is the customization and branding. So in the bottom left corner, you can see the micro farms that are featured at the U.S. Olympic team. And so we actually partnered with their athletes, their dietitians. They loved our product and program so much, they've expanded and purchased 2 more of our farms. So we can kind of customize the front panel, the sides. You can do an optional glass backing. So we love to kind of tell your stories. Our energy provider here in Virginia, Dominion, on their farm, we actually featured their mission, kind of their pillars around sustainability to kind of help elevate and tell that story of why they decided to partner with Babylon. Now, one thing that has been pretty impactful with our gallery farm is we do provide biannual environmental report cards. And this really shows the positive impact that you're making on the environment from water savings, nitrogen diverted, food waste. And for some of our clients who have multiple farms, we provide these reports for individual locations as well as for an entire collective for a whole company. Now, as your wheels are turning, you might be thinking about, hey, where can this fit? So the gallery and the STEM garden, they're definitely designed for front of house applications. Now, the gallery, it does have a few more site requirements than the STEM garden. So this one, since we're dosing the water and the nutrients, we do need a 1/4-inch flexible cold water line, a wall outlet that's dedicated to the unit, and ideally an Ethernet connection because we're controlling the environment within the farms. These are roughly the size of a commercial grade refrigerator. So they're roughly 80 inches tall, 5.5 feet wide, 30 inches deep. So it's a pretty substantial size. A lot of my clients love to feature these in lobbies, cafes, grab and go areas, in the dining hall or cafeteria at a school. So great, amazing focal points. Now shifting over to the STEM garden, beautiful focal point as well. The beauty of this unit too is you manually fill the water. So you can move it around a little bit. Does have the automation in regards to irrigation, the lighting, but great focal point, food safe as well. So it does have those turnkey style locks because we don't want somebody just reaching in there and grabbing their own wasabi arugula. All right, now diving back to the gallery. So keep in mind, with the gallery model, it's an all-inclusive service. So it's kind of like Stitch Fix. Every 6 weeks, you get your Babylon box of whatever varieties you choose to grow within your farm. With that subscription service, it does provide that app, custom materials, opportunities like our student internship programs, warranty, and a dedicated Babylon account manager to really hold your hand every step of the way. So that's how the gallery is just a little bit different. And then with the STEM garden, as Mitchell shared, we provide all of the consumables, the seeds, the pods, everything you need to actually grow the farms. We do also have an optional water testing kit, which comes with the farm. We do want to make sure, how is the farm going to perform? Some of our clients do have harder water, so recommendations on that side. For my education teams out there, we do have curriculum options. It is a little bit of an upgrade, but if that's something you're interested in exploring, we can absolutely provide that for you as well. But Mitchell, thank you again so much for taking the time today. And hopefully I'll be popping by. I know we have a board meeting coming up soon, so it'll be nice to see you guys.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Wonderful.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. Well, any last questions that have come in?
No, everybody's good.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all again. And Mitchell, it was great to see you.
Great to see you too.